Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraya Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, answers by citing the Lord's version. Text number 33. Aham evāsam evāgre nānyad sad-asat param paścād aham etac yo vaśiṣyeta sosmyaham aham, I, the personality of Godhead. Eva, certainly. Evāsam, existed. Eva, only. Agre, before the creation. Na, never. Nānyad, anything else. Yet, all those. Sat, the effect. Asat, the cause. Param, the supreme. Paścād, at the end. Aham, I, the personality of Godhead. Yet, all these. Etac, creation. Cha, also. Yaha, everything. Vaśiṣyeta, remains. Saha, that. Asmi, I am. The personality, ahaṁ, I, the personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Brahmā, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself. Nor was there the material nature the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Please repeat this translation after me. Brahmā, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. It's a very big purport. I'll directly discuss this purport in the class. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjalashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paścād Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. this verse and the next three verses, together these four verses are called Chatushloki Bhagavata, the four essential verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you want to know what the essence of Bhagavatam is, in these four verses it is completely explained. Also, very interesting that Srila Prabhupada, in the purport to the 31st verse, says about these four verses being the principal, original Bhagavatam in four verses. You would have heard many times that our parampara is Krishna first spoke to Brahmā, the transcendental knowledge. Then Brahmā spoke to Narada, Narada spoke to Vyasa. So this parampara is directly given in the Bhagavatam itself. Krishna first spoke to Brahmā, the Srimad Bhagavatam, in four verses. And Brahmā spoke to Narada, the same Srimad Bhagavatam, that is given in the second canto. And Brahmā speaking to Narada, it was not just four verses. He expanded these four verses into some 30-40 verses. Then Narada spoke to Vyasa, Srimad Bhagavatam, that's there in the first canto, 5th and 6th chapters. And then Vyasadeva, he compiled and he also spoke the Bhagavatam to Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj and Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami spoke to the sages of Naimisharanya. Like that, parampara, it is coming down. What happens is, every time in the parampara, it is expanded. Even what we have as Bhagavatam is what is expanded by Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada has actually, for the first time, presented Bhagavatam, where every single verse, the word for meaning, the translation, and the purports, so elaborately, so systematically, so painstakingly, Prabhupada has done this. Never before has anybody done this. Okay. So, and that also Prabhupada's speciality is, he is presenting this Bhagavatam in a language we can understand. All our previous acharyas, generally they explain or they write commentaries in Sanskrit. But our later acharyas like Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they have explained in Bengali also, the local language where they were preaching predominantly. But Prabhupada, the Acharya of the entire world, he is presenting for a contemporary audience in English. So because of which most of us, we don't know Bengali, may not know Bengali, don't know Sanskrit, but we all know English. So very easily we can read, hear, and even attempt to understand this or get the message. In the 31st verse purport, Prabhupada says about these 4 verses. He says, Lord Brahmā is the topmost devotee of the Lord within the universe. Brahmā is the first created being, and it was he who actually made the most important relevant inquiries from the Lord about subject matter of the absolute truth. Brahma Jignasa. Vyasadeva compiling the Vedanta Sutra. What is Vedanta Sutra? The Vedic wisdom presented in very, very short sutras, aphorisms. The Vedas means all knowledge. All knowledge. So the entirety of knowledge nobody can, say. So much is knowledge. It is virtually unlimited. Though as human beings, we cannot even imagine what is unlimited knowledge. Because the Lord is unlimited, His creation is unlimited, His abode is unlimited, His qualities are unlimited, His energies are unlimited. So knowledge about the Supreme Lord or the Absolute is also unlimited. But still, Vyasadeva, in order to present the essence, distilled essence of the entire Vedic knowledge, he has given us what is called as Vedanta Sutra. So in that Vedanta Sutra, the very first aphorism is Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now that you got a human form of life, inquire into what is the absolute truth, Brahman. And the same essence of the Vedic wisdom Vyasadeva has presented as Bhagavad Gita. Same. And Prabhupada has explained that in the first chapter, first verse of the Bhagavad Gita purport, says this Bhagavad Gita contains the essence of Vedic wisdom. And in the introduction, Prabhupada explains whatever is the essence of Vedic wisdom given in the Vedanta Sutra, the same essence is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, this is not something which Prabhupada is telling of his own. This is something which Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Where does Krishna say that Bhagavad Gita actually contains the same essence of Vedic wisdom given in the Vedanta Sutra? Where does Krishna say that? No. That verse means from all the Vedas, I am to be understood. Where is reference to Vedanta Sutra in the Bhagavad Gita? There is one reference, direct reference, in the 13th chapter. Krishna says, whatever he is speaking is presented very systematically, logically in the Bhagavad Gita as regards analysis of the absolute truth in terms of cause and effect. Hetu madbhir vinishtitaihi. Brahma Sutra padaishchaiva hetu madbhir vinishtitaihi. Rishibhir bahuda geetam chandobhir vividai prathak. But that verse, even though it is the direct reference to Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra is Vedanta Sutra. But without mentioning the Vedanta Sutra in another verse, Krishna is giving the essence of the Vedic wisdom in one verse in the Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada says in the purport to that verse, in this verse, I'll read that actual words of Prabhupada. 15.16, 15th chapter, 16th verse. Dvavimau purushau loke ksharashchakshara evacha sharasarvani bhutani kutastokshara uchyate. So in the purport, the first sentence is, as already explained, the Lord in his incarnation as Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra. That is in the 15th verse it is given. Vedanta Krut. Vedanta Krut means he is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. Here, the 16th verse, the Lord is giving in summary the contents of the Vedanta Sutra. So, we have to carefully study Srila Prabhupada's books. Everything is there. So, sometimes devotees think it would have been nice if Prabhupada would have written a translation of the Vedanta Sutra also. We have got our Gaudiya Vaishnava Bhashya on the Vedanta Sutra, commentary by Baldev Vidyabhushan. So Prabhupada actually started translating Baldev Vidyabhushan's Govinda Bhashya. Some portion he did, but he could not complete it. He did not complete it. Okay. But we have Prabhupada's explanation of the Vedanta Sutra in the form of his Bhagavad Gita as it is. So if you study the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explains there are 5 topics in the Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. What Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says in Vedanta Sutra also is, this Vedanta Sutra contains essentially 5 topics. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. So, the Vedanta Sutra and the Bhagavad Gita are non-different. So therefore Prabhupada gave so much stress to Bhagavad Gita. So much stress he gave. And he would quote Bhagavad Gita very, 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 very often. Because Bhagavad Gita contains the essence of all Vedic wisdom. Then, the essence of the Vedic wisdom is also given in the form of Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam is nothing but a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the author, Vyasadeva. So where is it said that this Bhagavatam is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra? In the Bhagavatam itself it is said, in the 13th chapter of the 12th canto, and in the Garuda Purana, Prabhupada quotes this many times. Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnayam. The Garuda Purana says, this is the original words of the Garuda Purana. It says that this Srimad Bhagavatam contains the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. Arthoyam Brahma Sutrana. And also, Bharatartha Vinirnayam. If you want to understand the Mahabharata, the message of the Mahabharata, because Mahabharata is, Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. Vedanta Sutra, how many verses? Not verses, it's called sutras. It is just very short aphorisms. 525. Vedanta Sutra, 525 sutras. Atato Brahma Jignasa, Tattvamasi, Shastra Yonitvat. Like that. Very short sutras. So, the Mahabharata contains 1 lakh verses. 1 lakh verses. So, the essence of the Mahabharata is the Bhagavad Gita. Since Mahabharata also is like the entirety of the teachings of the Vedas presented in the form of a historical narration, it actually is also called the 5th Veda. And Prabhupada says in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita that Bhagavad Gita is also called Gitopanishad. And where is that said? It is said in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Gitopanishad. Every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Vyasadeva ends, Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu. Just like the Vedic knowledge, the essence, philosophical essence of the Vedas is given in the form of Upanishads. Similarly, the 5th Veda, the essence is given in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Given in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So, Bhagavad Gita is Upanishad, but it is not just an Upanishad, it is the essence of the knowledge given in the Upanishads also. That is explained by Shankaracharya. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsas sudhir bhokta dugdham gitamritam mahat. If all the Upanishads can be compared to a cow, what is the nectarian essence of the cow? That is the milk. Dugdham Gita Amritam Mahat. So, the nectarian essence of all the Upanishads is the Bhagavad Gita. So, just like Vedanta Sutra is the essence of all the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita also is the essence of all the Upanishads. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is giving the same essence that Vedanta Sutra is presenting. In so many ways, we can analyze this. Okay. Now, the Bhagavatam is actually originally spoken by the Supreme Lord to Brahmā in just 4 verses. Just 4 verses. Then it was expanded by Brahmā when he spoke the same knowledge of the Bhagavatam to Narada. Narada expanded, spoke to Vyasa. Vyasa actually spoke to Shukadeva Goswami. But Shukadeva Goswami expanded it when he spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. Suta Goswami further expanded it after hearing from Shukadeva Goswami. Suta Goswami himself says in the Bhagavatam, I was present when Parikshit was inquiring from Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Suta Goswami further expands it because he is answering the inquiries of the sages of Naimisharanya. So, like this, every Acharya expands further the knowledge that is originally given by Krishna to Brahmā in 4 verses. So therefore, because these 4 verses are actually the original Bhagavatam, that's what Prabhupada says here. The personality of Godhead replied to 4 principal inquiries of Brahmā. Brahmā asked 4 questions in this chapter, 9th chapter. Brahmā asked 4 questions from Krishna. And what are those 4 questions? Prabhupada is given here. Brahma's questions were, the first question, what are the forms of the Lord both in matter and in transcendence? Second question Brahmā asked is, how are the different energies of the Lord working? The third question Brahmā asked from Krishna is, how does the Lord play with his different energies? Fourth one, how may Brahmā be instructed to discharge the duty entrusted to him? 4 questions. Prabhupada says, Brahma's inquiries are replied by the personality of Godhead in 4 important statements which are known as the original Bhagavatam in 4 verses. And which are the verses? The 2nd canto, 9th chapter, verses 33, 34, 35, 36. And all the 4 verses, Prabhupada has written very big commentary. That's why I didn't read the purport. Now let us get to this purport. So what is this 33rd verse answering Brahma's question? What are the forms of the Lord both in matter and in transcendence? So the answer is, the Supreme Lord is telling Brahmā, I, the personality of Godhead, was existing before the creation. So Brahma's question is, what are the forms of the Lord in matter and in transcendence? So Krishna says, I, the personality of Godhead is speaking. I, just like in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asks a question, so Arjuna uvacha, Dhritarashtra is asking some question, Dhritarashtra uvacha, Sanjaya is replying, Sanjaya uvacha. But when Krishna is replying to Arjuna's question, it is not said Krishna uvacha. What is said? Sri Bhagavan uvacha. It means Krishna is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, when Vyasadeva is writing Sri Bhagavan uvacha, see 31st verse, Sri Bhagavan uvacha. He is not telling Krishna uvacha. He is telling Sri Bhagavan uvacha. So that Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, is telling aham, I. Because these Mayavadis, wherever there is the Supreme Lord speaking, aham, he says, they say their interpretation is this aham doesn't mean the person who is speaking, but something within the person. Something beyond this person. And that something within the person or beyond the person they describe as the absolute truth, impersonal Brahman. Now here, Prabhupada clearly explains in the purport, this person speaking, Bhagavan, Krishna, is not a person like a person of this world. He is a transcendental personality. He is the ultimate source of everything. So that is explained elaborately here by Prabhupada in the purport. So therefore, in the translation itself, even though the verse says aham, aham means I. But Prabhupada in the translation, as well as the word for meaning, it is I, the personality of Godhead. So sometimes these Mayavadis or these materialists, atheists, those who are envious of Prabhupada, they will say, why your Swamiji is not giving the actual translation, Bhagavad Gita, as it is. We say Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada only has given a title, as it is. So one person came and told me, I read this, your Swamiji's Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada Swami's Bhagavad Gita. And title you told me it is Bhagavad Gita as it is given by Prabhupada. But inside you open, Prabhupada is not giving as it is. He's adding so many things. Like here, aham, aham means I. Very simple, no? Straightforward, direct. Simple meaning. Everybody knows this. Now he is telling I, the personality of Godhead. Now why your Swamiji is adding this personality of Godhead? He can simply say I, no? So why Prabhupada is writing I, the personality of Godhead, as aham? Because the whole Bhagavatam is about the absolute truth being presented as the personality of Godhead, Krishna. That's what is stated in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Vadanti tat tattva vidaha tattvam yad jnanam advayam. Tattva there refers to absolute truth. Absolute truth is realized in three different features as Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti. So, there are three features of the absolute truth, Tattva. And Bhagavatam, in the name Bhagavatam, what does it mean? It is presenting Bhagavan, the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth. And the Bhagavan feature is the ultimate feature of the absolute truth, which includes the features of Brahman and Paramatma. Where is that explained? In the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavatam. Everywhere it's explained. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, in two places it is explained that the Bhagavan feature is the ultimate feature. Directly, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I am the source of the Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Krishna says, correct? Nowhere it is said that Brahman, which is the impersonal Brahman, is the source of Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Nowhere it is said like that. Okay? Where does Krishna say that he is the Paramatma? Two verses in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everybody's heart as Paramatma. 15.15. And in 18th chapter, Ishvaras sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. That Ishvara refers to Paramatma. Yeah, 15th chapter also there is one more verse. 13th chapter also it is there. Many places it is there. At least 2 places, if not more. Okay. There are more, actually, you are right. So, everywhere it is said, Krishna is the source of Paramatma. Krishna is the source of Brahman. Nowhere it is said Brahman is the source of Krishna. Nowhere it is said Paramatma is the source of Krishna. Nowhere it is said like that. So therefore, to clarify, this personality Krishna is actually the personality of Godhead Bhagavan. Therefore, Prabhupada, aham is translated as I, the personality of God. Now, Brahma's question is, what are the forms of the Lord in transcendence and in matter? So, the Lord's answer, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation. That means that very form of Krishna was replying to Brahma, was standing before Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He is the personality of Godhead who existed before the creation. Existed before the creation. That means he is not a created being like all of us. He is not a created being. In that form of the personality of Godhead, he existed. When there was nothing but myself, somebody may say, oh, before the creation, there were the living entities. No, we are not created. No, as spirit soul, are we created? No, spirit soul is not created. But here, what is Krishna telling? There was nothing but myself. Nor was there the material nature, which is the cause of this creation. The immediate cause of the creation is material nature. After all, the Mahat Tattva differentiates into the elements. And those elements are what is this whole material world is constituted of, correct? That is explained also in the Bhagavatam and the scriptures, Vedic scriptures. So, material nature, which is the cause of this material creation itself, definitely it should have existed before the creation took place, no? Correct? So, but here Krishna is telling the material nature was not there before the creation. Material nature itself differentiated into those forms of 24 elements by the glance of Mahavishnu. By the glance of Mahavishnu. And this is explained in several places in the scriptures. Several places in the scriptures. So here, the verse says, nothing else was there before the creation other than the personality of God. But Prabhupada clarifies, nothing means not even the material nature was there before. Because the material nature itself is differentiated from the material energy. And that energy is always the energy of the Supreme Lord, which is always with Him. When you say Krishna, the personality of Godhead, he is never without his energies, he is never without his abode, he is never without his paraphernalia, he is never without his parts and parcels, the living entities. Krishna means everything. And that everything always exists, eternally exists. Eternally exists. Krishna is eternal means everything which Krishna has is eternal. That's the meaning of Krishna is eternal, because Krishna is everything. At the same time, the person Krishna, who is the enjoyer of everything, he is also different from the energies, different from the living entities, his parts and parcels. He is different. And he also is one in quality. And that's the special feature of this verse, Prabhupada says in the purport. So Krishna says here to Brahmā that he was existing before the creation. That means the form of the Lord in transcendence is Krishna. Before the creation, there was no material creation at some time before the creation took place. So even material nature was not there. But Krishna was there. So Krishna is there, or Krishna was there before the creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. Just like the living entities, even though they existed before the creation, but they didn't exist in the form that they are there now. We have acquired these material bodies at the time of creation, or even subsequent to the creation, we acquired these material bodies. Okay? Whereas Krishna's form, first of all, is not material. And secondly, in the form in which you're seeing me now, is the same form in which I existed before the creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. Because our form is changing. Our form is changing. Krishna's form doesn't change. Krishna's form doesn't change. Krishna's form is the eternal form, unchanging form. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of God. Because this material world, material nature, material creation, everything is destroyed at the end of Brahma's life. Completely destroyed. Nothing remains. But in the scriptures, this is clarified that the living entity, na hanyate hanyamane sharire, Bhagavad Gita also, the living entity, a spirit soul, is never destroyed. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. So as spirit soul, there is no destruction of the living entity. Similarly, the material nature or the material creation itself, as the material energy, is never destroyed. So material energy is eternal. Living entities as spirit soul is eternal. But this eternal living entity as spirit soul undergoes a transformation in the form of acquiring a material body when the creation takes place, and loses that material body when destruction takes place. Okay, even after so-called death, of a human being or any living entity, even an animal or whatever. That spirit soul is not destroyed, but the spirit soul accepts another material body. Chariram yadavapnoti tatha dehantara praptihi. Enough. This thing is there, explanation is there in the Bhagavad Gita and all the scriptures. So, we are getting another body. But this getting body business, final destruction. Pralaya. That time you don't get another body. The spirit soul does not get another body. What happens to the spirit soul? Will simply lie in the body of Mahavishnu. As spirit soul, only in a kind of sleeping condition. In ignorance, simply lying in ignorance in the body of Mahavishnu. Material energy also in its unmanifest state enters the body of Mahavishnu and lies there as dormant material energy. Living entities lie there as dormant material energy as dormant spirit souls, and material energy also lies as dormant material energy within the body of Mahavishnu after this entire creation is destroyed. But Mahavishnu, he is just engaged in one Leela of his. What is that? He is lying on the causal ocean and he breathes out, exhales. Yasyaika nishvasita kala mathavalambya. Brahma Sutra, Brahmā Samhita explains this. When he breathes out, after all, he is a person, he breathes like you and me, but his breathing is not exactly like our breathing. He breathes out, universes come out of his skin holes in their seed-like form. The living entities come out of his body in their dormant condition. They are injected by the glance of Mahavishnu into the womb of material nature. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. What is that verse? Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtayas sambhavantiyaha tasam brahma mahatyonir aham bija pradapita. So at the beginning of creation, Krishna as Mahavishnu is the bija pradapita, is the seed-giving father. So he injects the living entities into material nature. And material nature itself, first of all, the material energy is lying in a dormant condition. That material energy, Mahavishnu glances and agitates that material energy, energizes it, activates it. Because in the dormant condition, the three gunas are not there. So those three gunas are activated when Mahavishnu glances on material nature. On material energy. Dormant material energy. So when he glances on material energy, suddenly material energy becomes activated. And what is that activity seen as? The interaction of the three gunas. They interact, and they interact on what? On the energy itself. Another aspect of the energy. As a substance. As a substance. So that substance is called pradhana. The substance is called pradhana. So when material modes, gunas, they act on pradhana, pradhana becomes activated as mahattattva. And that mahattattva transforms, first of all, into false ego. So as far as the elements are concerned, 24 elements of matter, the first element is mahattattva. And the second element is false ego, ahankara. And the ahankara transforms by the action of mode of goodness into something. Into the mind, I think. I don't remember exactly. Like that, all the elements subsequently come. 24 elements. And these 24 elements are combined in different proportions. Different elements are combined. By whom? To create this entire variety. The universes, the planets, and on the planets, all the different rivers, mountains, earth, water, fire, in whatever form we have now. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. He is the one who combines everything. He combines everything. And simply, just like you sow a seed, you can't see how the seed actually is taking all the nutrition from the soil, the water, the nutrients in the soil, and it germinates, it breaks open. One small sapling will come, sapling will grow to a big tree. Let's take a case of a banyan tree. You've seen banyan seed? It is very, very, very small. If you have eaten अंजीर, अंजीर में वो बीज है ना उसका, how small it is? Pinhead. Such a small seed. Banyan tree का भी, that seed is as small as that. Okay? From that, you can imagine it sprouts and a huge banyan tree comes out of it. And how big a banyan tree can be? It can extend to several hundreds or even thousands of square kilometers. Okay, banyan tree is something bewildering for all the scientists and all the materialists. So, that tiny seed, how it develops into a banyan tree, nobody can explain. No scientist, no materialist, no jnani, no yogi, nobody can explain. Only Krishna can explain. So similarly, Krishna's glancing on material energy, whole material energy transforms into Mahatattva, and then Mahatattva, the gunas act, elements are combined by Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, another form of Vishnu, Mahavishnu only, another form. And then the whole material world, so many universes, each universe having so many planets, each planet having so many facilities. Because for the living entities to get the material body, they require a place of residence. They require a place of residence. We have this body, but unless we have a place, this earth planet with all the facilities for our existence, we cannot live here. We cannot subsist. We cannot survive. So that is also done by Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. All the facilities are created by Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So therefore, it is said here that after the annihilation, this material world will not be there in the form of this material world. Nature won't be there in the form of nature. Living entities won't be there in whatever forms you are seeing the living entities, devatas and human beings and animals and birds. None of them will be there. So, therefore, in that sense, after annihilation, what remains is only the personality of Godhead, meaning in his form as the transcendental personality. That is the understanding. Living entities don't get annihilated, as spirits so. Material nature is not annihilated as material energy. Energy remains. Energy remains. Energy was there before creation. Energy is there even now in the form of this entire material creation, created material nature. And material energy will remain even after the entire material world is destroyed completely as material energy. So, therefore, when it is said what remains is only the Supreme Lord as the Personality of Godhead, it is the original form of the Lord, which is unchanged through all the changes, creation, maintenance, destruction, creation, maintenance, destruction, the changes that happen. Living entities without any material body, without any. Then, when creation takes place, they get a material body. As long as the creation is maintained, they keep on changing bodies. And after the creation is destroyed completely, no more material body. Right? As far as the material nature or the matter or the material objects are concerned, or material nature is concerned, material nature was not in this form, in this shape. No universes, no planets, no rivers, no mountains, no places of residence, nothing. But all that came into existence at a time of creation. Then it is maintained for some duration. During the maintenance also, the material energy is in the form of this entire material nature. But after the creation is destroyed, the material nature is destroyed. Again, no rivers, no mountains, no earth, no water, no fire, no air, no ether, no mahatattva, nothing. But it goes back to its original state of dormant material energy. So, in the form of this manifest material world, it is temporary. We also, in the form of this body, we are temporary. Our existence in the form of this body and all material mentality, material desires, all this is temporary. It's all finished when destruction takes place. Final destruction. So, that is the, now Prabhupada in the purport, how much time do I have? 6 minutes more, okay. Basically in the purport, Prabhupada is giving evidence from the original Vedas and also from other literature, Vedic literature, that what is being said here is the same thing which is there in the Vedas. Bhagavatam is not simply Vyasadeva writing some stories and telling that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and He is the absolute truth. No. It is exactly as it is given in the original Vedas. It's exactly as it is given in the Upanishads, as it is given in the Vedanta Sutra, as it is given in the Itihasas, Puranas. Everything is consistent regarding what is the absolute truth, who are the living entities, what is creation, what is maintenance, what is destruction, what is liberation. So, here to give an example, the beginning of the purport, we should carefully note that the personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis Himself. He's stressing I. 3 times he's telling I. I existed before the creation. I remain during the maintenance. And I only will remain after the annihilation and nothing else. So, he is pointing out that He is the creator, He is the maintainer, He is the destroyer. You see, these are all things by just direct reading we cannot understand. This is also what is being explained here. He creates, He maintains, He destroys. So then what about Brahma being described as the creator? Vishnu as the maintainer, we can understand Vishnu is Krishna only. Okay. We can accept that. Vishnu or Krishna only maintains. Okay. What about destroyer? We know Shiva is the destroyer. Then why is it said here, the personality of Godhead is the destroyer of the whole creation? Huh? A secondary creator and destroyer are Brahma and Shiva. Correct, that's correct. Just like the creation, it is explained in the Bhagavatam, and destruction also explained. Creation, now Brahma, he creates in what sense? He is like an engineer. Prabhupada explains in the first canto, first chapter, first verse purport. Brahma is the engineer of the universe. Engineer means the raw material the engineer cannot create. No engineer can create raw material. He can transform that raw material into some product, finished product. Similarly, Brahma, he does not create the living entities in the form of spirit soul. They already exist. And even this body, Brahma is, what is he doing? Creation means he is giving the bodies to the living entities who don't have body after the previous destruction. They don't have any body, material body. So he gives the body by what is called as creation. Now when he is giving the body itself is made up of what? Made up of material elements. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti rashtada. Krishna says, it is my energy. These 8 elements are my energy, material energy. So Brahma takes little earth, little water, little air, little fire, little space, and makes this gross body. And subtle body, directly, mind, intelligence, ego. Some small portions are there as material mind, material intelligence, material. This also matter, subtle matter. Our mind, material mind, is matter. That's why it's a material mind. So Brahma takes these elements, combines them, and how does he combine? Just like an engineer is, we say, making one car. He combines all the different parts. But for that there is a machine. So material nature as a machine is combining these. In the womb of the mother, the body is fabricated. Womb of the mother, isn't it? So material nature is actually working. Material nature is working. So even this combining is not being actually done by Brahma. It's not done by Brahma. So Brahma is creating means the Prajapatis are born out of Brahma's body. What is happening? Brahma in the beginning of creation, what does he do? He gives birth to Brahma himself. He is born out of the body of Mahavishnu. No, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, Padmanabha Vishnu. Now Brahma, he creates the Prajapatis first. And the Prajapatis are born out of the different parts of Brahma's body. Now the Prajapatis create the further species, different species. Like Manu creates the human species. That's why we are called Manushya. Manushya. But Manu himself is born from Brahma. So he creates Manu to create the human species. He creates Daksha to create so many other species. He gives birth to the Rishi, one Rishi. He creates so many Rishis. I mean, they are born as his descendants of the first Rishi. Like that, the different species are born out of the Prajapatis. That's why they are called Prajapatis. They are progenitors of different species of living entities. So, but Brahma is utilizing. Where does Brahma get the intelligence to do all this? From Krishna. Even whatever we do, where do we get the intelligence from? From Paramatma in the heart. Matta smrutir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna gives the intelligence. Krishna gives us the ability. Paurusham Rishu, 7th chapter, Krishna says, I give the ability to every person to do whatever he is doing. So ultimately it's Krishna only who's giving Brahma the intelligence, the ingredients, the skill, the knowledge, how to create. Brahma gets that knowledge from Krishna only. So therefore, actually Krishna is the creator. Now maintenance is being done by the Devatas. But Devatas, every Devata's heart, who is sitting? Paramatma. And Paramatma, what is he doing? He is active every moment in Devata's body. He is actually giving direction, he is giving knowledge, he is giving skill, he is giving intelligence, he is giving the ingredients, everything is being supplied. Like Krishna is Paramatma to every Devata to do his function of maintenance. Like that, Krishna is the maintainer. Krishna is the destroyer. Shiva, how does he destroy? Sankarshana, the form of Krishna, who is the original destroyer, he becomes a little angry because he has got millions and billions of hoods. Ananta Sesha is called. Another name is Sesha because he is in the form of a snake. But this is not a snake that we know of. He has got millions of those hoods. And on those each of the hood, one universe is resting like a mustard seed. This is a description in the scriptures. So, after the time is over, Kala determines how long this material creation will be maintained, lifetime of Brahma. Lifetime Brahma is over, exhausted, the whole creation has to be destroyed. How does it begin? Sankarshana becomes little angry. Anantasesha becomes little angry. And that anger, Shiva normally, what is he doing when there is no need for destruction? Destruction happens at the end of Brahma's life, no? Total destruction. So Shiva performs Tandava Nritya. He becomes completely excited, agitated. He performs they describe as cosmic dance of destruction. He dances and then he completely destroys everything. So where is he getting the power for destroying? Where is he getting the from Sankarshana? He is getting from Sankarshana. Sankarshana through Shiva, who acts as the instrument, he destroys. Sankarshana destroys everything. So, like that, the Supreme Lord is the destroyer, is the creator, is the maintainer. So here in the Upanishad, just one Upanishad, I will just explain this and then we'll close. It is said by the impersonalists that when Krishna says I in this verse, the impersonalist understanding is that I is the same as Brahmā also says I. Brahmā also has got a sense of being a person, no? He also says I. So that I, principle of I in Brahmā, the impersonalist says same as the principle of I in Krishna. No difference. But Prabhupada points out there is a difference. And Brahmā says I and Krishna says I. The two I's are different. What is the difference? One is Krishna is a predominator I, and the living entity or Brahmā is the predominated I. And this difference and this similarity between the two I's is clearly explained in the Kathopanishad in one verse. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kama. That the living entity and the Supreme Lord both are nitya, both are eternal. But they have been put into two categories. Singular nitya and plural nitya. Nityo nityanam. Chetanas chetananam. Chetana is conscious. Supreme Lord is conscious being. We are also conscious beings, living entities. But He is the Chetana, the conscious person. One conscious person. Distinguished from all the other innumerable living entities who are also conscious persons. What's the difference? Similarities, living entities are eternal, living entities are conscious. Supreme Lord is also eternal, Supreme Lord is also conscious. But there is a difference. What is the difference? Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kama. The one, singular, nitya, chetana, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, the I, Krishna, He is the maintainer of all the other living entities, all the other I. Everyone is maintained by Krishna. Krishna is the maintainer, we are the maintained. Krishna is the predominator, we are predominated. So this difference exists, directly given in the Upanishad. This is not something that is there in the Puranas only. This is given directly in the Upanishad. In the Puranas, Krishna directly says, I am the maintainer of all the living entities. Upadrishta, Anumanta, Bharta in Bhagavad Gita, directly Krishna says, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha. Directly Krishna says, I am the maintainer of all the living entities. But here in the Upanishad, clearly it is said, Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kama. Eka. The singular, one person. So the creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one. Wherever the oneness of the living entity and the supreme absolute truth is given in the scriptures, it means quality is same, spiritual in quality. Both are eternal because both are spiritual. Both are conscious, therefore both are similar in quality. The quality of spirit is eternal, conscious. It's a quality of spirit. But in terms of quantity, the Supreme Lord is unlimited and the living entity is limited. Anu Atma, Vibhu Atma is distinguished. Scriptures both are referred to as Atma. Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, aham atma gudakesha sarva bhutashayastitaha. Of course, Krishna is described as Paramatma and also as Atma, both. So when Krishna says aham atma, Mayavadi is immediately says, see, your own text. Krishna is speaking. He is telling aham atma, I am Atma. So we are telling the same thing. We are telling we are all Krishna. Because we are all Atma. That's what the scriptures also say, no? We are all Atma, no? But what kind of Atma? Sarva bhutashayastitaha. Immediately the next line of that verse, Krishna says what kind of Atma he is. Sarva bhutashayas. He is seated in everybody's heart. Are you seated in everybody's heart? Or are you sitting only in your heart? So this difference exists. Again, in the 13th chapter, the living entity is described as kshetrajna. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidiyate. What is the next line? One who knows the field is called the kshetrajna. The living entity is the knower of the field, called the body. You are the knower of the body. You are not the body. Body is the field of activity. Okay. Then the third verse, he says, I am also the knower in everybody. Kshetrajnam cha api mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. So that is the distinction between the Krishna as Kshetrajna and the living entity as Kshetrajna. Here, the distinction between the creator I, Krishna as the person, the individual person, and the living entity as individual person, the distinction is clearly brought out from this. Eko bahunam yo vidadhatikam. Everywhere the distinction is exactly the way it is expressed in this Upanishad verse. Aham atma gudakesha sarva bhutashayastitaha. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. So this distinction always exists. And Krishna also says in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, what is that? Mamaivaṁsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. Mayavadis say all this maintainer and all, it's all temporary illusion. It is not eternal truth. Eternal truth is not this creation, maintenance, this stuff. These are all illusory activities. According to the scriptures, it is not illusory activity. It is a transcendental activity of the transcendental personality of God. Anyway, even if it's, for argument's sake, we consider this creation, maintenance, destruction all temporary activity, material activity, even if we say that, still, the verse of the Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says, all the living entities are my part and parcel eternally. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. Sanatana. Eternally we are part. Amsha. Eternally we are Amsha. Krishna is the Purna. So, everywhere the Mayavada philosophy is proved wrong. Mayavadis say, after liberation, this distinction will not exist. This material body will not be there, material creation will not be there, material... no, nothing will exist after liberation. You won't exist as living entity. You will become God. Nowhere it is said you become God. Nowhere it is said. But this is the Mayavada theory. So that is refuted in so many different verses that Prabhupada quotes. the difference between Krishna and Brahmā as I everywhere. Okay, I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki